Alright, so in this video I'm going to be going over everything that I learned when building up the Sana Rebels team. So just like last time, starting character by character and then team overall. So first of all, we've got the leader of the team, the whole reason the team is able to exist, which is Sana Staros. Now, she's required at Relic 5 for Dr. Afra. So that's why I have her. I don't think I'm going to take her higher than that. I just don't see any point in it. Now, some of the abilities that I found useful here. First of all, the leadership, which is really nice. It has specific callouts to Rebel Scoundrel tanks, which is Stormtrooper Han, and we'll look at him a little bit later. But then also there's this. So she's always going to assist whenever certain characters on the team use special abilities, so non-attackers, and we'll go over those characters. And then she also heals every time. Now, I did end up putting the Zeta on here. However, I am not going to put the Omicron on just because I don't really play offensively in territory wars all that often. And I just don't see a use for this anyways. But something else that's nice. So Stormtrooper Han has a taunt. However, it can easily be dispelled. So this also just helps reinforce that by giving everyone except for Stormtrooper Han stealth. And then he's still forced to be attacked. Next up, we have Rebel Officer Leia Organa, the other Zeta I put on this team. Now, she has this leadership ability, which isn't useful for this team. However, when you're doing the Jedi Knight Luke unlock event, you definitely want to take it up to this point, at least, just because it's a lot easier to win that way. Now, she also has this unique ability, which gives her one bonus of just a ton of offense, which will make this ability hit really hard, and you should almost always be using this ability, even though it looks like it has a big cooldown. It refreshes the cooldown every time a critical hit is landed, or every time Leia gets a debuff. So that means you're basically going to be doing this every single turn. And because of that, that's your main damage for the whole team, is that ability right there. Now, next up, we've got Captain Han Solo. Now, most people really only bring him in here because he has the revive, and that's all this ability does, so you're only going to be using that if you're reviving people. However, this ability helps recover protection if you upgrade it all the way, which is super helpful because you can just keep using this on Stormtrooper Han, and then he keeps getting protection back, and it just helps keep him alive longer. Now, I found that his basic is kind of underrated. It does a decent amount of damage, nothing crazy, but it's one of the higher damage dealing abilities on the team. Now, Lando kind of seems out of place here. I see he's the one that gets replaced quite a bit, but he is needed for the Jedi Knight Luke unlock and the unlock for so many other things. So, because of that, I threw him in here. Plus, you can get some decent stuff going with this ability if you can survive long enough, especially in the level from the Jedi Knight Luke unlock event where you use him. If you just keep using this ability, it will ramp up very quickly. But other than that, he doesn't do a whole lot that's useful for the team. Finally, we have Stormtrooper Han. Now he's not actually required at any relic levels, so I just took him up to 0 and I've left him there. He doesn't do anything crazy, he just taunts and gives turn meter, but other than that, you're not really going to be attacking with him ever. You're just going to be using him to soak up the hits. Now, the team overall, most of them are required at Relic 5 for various things. Stormtrooper Han, if you really wanted to, you could take him up to Relic 5 with them, but I don't recommend going much higher than that unless you spend money on the game, because it's just kind of a waste of materials. Now you'll notice that some of my characters I have put really powerful mods onto, and that's just because I had a really difficult time in the Jedi Knight Luke event. But as long as you can get through it, like once you get through it, as long as they're at Relic 5, I'd say just stop building them there. Other than that, this team is not going to be on the same level as CLS, but it still has its uses. Like as a cleanup team, I found is very useful to have. Just one extra defensive team if you wanted to. But I guess Conquest if you feel like playing that game. But it's just difficult to find a place to use these characters. Problem is you need most of them for stuff, so it's just a way to get some use out of them. Now, as I said in the overall guide, I'm not going to do a separate video for Wampa, so I talked about it in there. But next up we have the Jedi Knight Revan team, and that one is going back up to a really good team. Other than that, there's nothing much else to say about this team. You gotta build them, so just build it. Don't expect them to be taking out galactic legends or anything. But if you build it like this, it should be at least somewhat worth the investment required.